Mariana. So you've sent us your first set of essays. Great. Let's take a look at what you wrote here. The first one is about schools. So here's what you said. Schools nowadays are becoming more diverse regarding their educational methods and what they offer to the students outside the classrooms. Okay, this is a great development that brings only positive results to the school's learning environment and to the youth. This essay will present arguments and examples that justify this point of view. Okay, it's nice in terms of grammar. It's nice that you state that you think this is a positive development. The problem with this introductory paragraph is that it doesn't really rephrase it doesn't really refer to the actual question. Okay, so the question asks you, some people think that schools should be more entertaining, some people think no, make them just academic. So what did you really say here? You said you were talking about them becoming more diverse regarding their educational methods. So that's not really a rephrasing of this topic. Also, you say what they offer to students outside the classrooms. There is nothing in the prompt itself that should lead you to believe that we're talking about outside the classrooms. In fact, it's fair to say that they're actually talking about making the classrooms themselves more entertaining. So the thing that comes to my mind here is, if I were an examiner, this would be kind of a red flag, because I'd be thinking to myself, maybe this student is going to write an off-topic response, because as of right now, it looks like your introduction is rather off-topic. All right, but let's see what you actually did in terms of your body paragraphs. First, it is important to highlight when educational institutions present themselves more appealing to the student, as more appealing to the student, with the diversity of their extracurricular activities, the student's interest for the school, or in the school, in its integrity, that's the wrong word here, increases. Recent studies from Harvard have proven that, no comma here. Should dopamine, the hormone of joy, be added to the process of learning, its productiveness, there's a spelling mistake here, will rise considerably. Therefore, making an effort to be more entertaining will only benefit the school's main purpose, education. Okay, you want the noun form here. Okay, it ended better than it started. Okay. Again, you're focusing just on extracurricular activities, although I really don't want you to. There's nothing in this essay that should lead you to understand that we're talking just about extracurricular, okay? So, secondly, it is significant to clarify that traditional activities, such as completing written exercises, are not the only ones that contribute to a child or teen's intellectual development. Einstein once said, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Okay, you need a full stop here. Okay, not a semicolon. I don't agree with that. There are several types of intelligence, and only a few of them are traditionally considered academic. Thus, educational institutions should review their concepts and try to contemplate as many of these categories of intelligence as possible. This is nice, but again, it really feels very off-topic. I mean, you're talking about methodology. You're talking about, different types of intelligence and teaching in order to include all of those different types. And that's really not what the essay is talking about. We need you to be a little more focused on the actual question and not kind of using the question as a springboard to talk about something totally different. And that really feels like what you're doing here. All right, let's see. To conclude from all the arguments and examples given previously given in this essay, you don't need a semicolon here, you just need a comma. I strongly believe that schools should be more innovative, diverse, and entertaining. Acting on the suggested posture would be in both the educators and the students' best interests. Okay, the conclusion is nice. A lot of the vocabulary and the grammar is nice. I like a lot of it. My concern is that it was off topic. It was considerably off topic in a number of areas. You said that you thought, yes, schools should be more entertaining. So that's what you should have focused on. Just this. How can schools be more entertaining? What do we mean by that? So think of that for a minute. Entertaining means amusing, funny, things that create a sense of joy. So how could joy be incorporated into the classroom? Okay, that's what you want to think about. And how effective is that, and how important is that? Now, of course, there might be some validity to talking about the other point of view as well, in terms of like maybe having a concession paragraph. So first talking about why people think schools should only educate, and then move on to talk about, well, no, it's really very valid and valuable to include entertainment. All right, and more entertainment. So those are some things I want you to think about. Let's take a look at this second essay about an enjoyable activity with a child. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at this one. The habit of reading is largely recommended to children based on the principle that it is beneficial for their learning. However, there are several other activities, usually overlooked, that can contribute to a child's education skills development in ways that reading cannot. This essay will present arguments and examples that justify this point of view. That's beautiful. It's really, really nice. I like that quite a bit. Okay, so good job there. Let's see what you did with the rest of the paragraph, okay? All right. Firstly, it is important to highlight that there are abilities simply possible to be explored through reading, such as physical coordination, fast thinking, teamwork, just not teamworking, but teamwork, etc. All right, one thing I want you to get out of the habit of right away is using etc. or so on in your essays. The idea is that it's either worthwhile to mention something by name, or you don't even allude to it. Okay, you already said such as, so we understand that this is not an exhaustive list. You're giving me 3 things, and that's enough. Physical coordination, fast thinking, and teamwork. Full stop. Okay? This etc., quite honestly, it ends up sounding kind of lazy. So I really want to advise you not to do it. All right, these and many other capacities would be better evolved during a sports practice, for example. All right, get rid of A. Even creativity, a skill frequently associated with a strong familiarity with books, could be explored in its deepest in a more dynamic experience. All right, comma, not semicolon, like theater, for instance. Therefore, it is essential to always explore, to always consider other activities before jumping in on reading. All right, I like what you wrote a lot, but I think you should have developed it more. Let me tell you what I mean. So, for example, you said, these capacities would be better evolved during sports practice. Okay, tell me why. Explain it. All right, you've got this nice idea here, but you have to go a step further and tell me why. Okay, and then here you said that it would be more deeply explored in theater. Again, why? So you're attesting to something, but you never actually explore it, and you never actually go into any detail to explain why you believe what you believe. Let's move on. Secondly, it is significant to expose a very important type of skill that is not even remotely regarded in reading. Social skills. Acquiring knowledge from a book or simply enjoying it are individual activities. Recent studies from Harvard show that children who spend most of their off-school time reading are 3 times more likely to become introverts and face social insecurities in the future. Thus, it's fundamental for a child to develop their social skills in some other hobby. Okay, hobbies with a Y, by the way. It's only IES in the plural. All right, that's a little better. I mean, it was this kind of single idea in one paragraph. That was fine. In conclusion, taking into account all the arguments and examples presented in this essay, I consider it reasonable to say that children ought to have diversity regarding how they spend their time. Reading has its benefits, but so do other outcasted activities. I love this, so do. I like when people use that. It's a nice advanced piece of grammar. Well done. I like this essay, apart from what I explained to you before about this this issue of not really developing your ideas. You really should have done more of that. But other than that, it was a lovely essay. It read very easily. The grammar and the vocabulary are really quite well handled. So good job there. That's a nice place to be in the beginning. What we have to work on, though, is, like I said, the support for your ideas. You have to back them up. Basically, anytime you present some sort of an idea, you have to ask yourself how or why. All right, and the next sentence that you write in that paragraph should answer one of those 2 questions, okay? What you need to do now is you need to, number one, correct these essays based on my suggestions. Number two, you need to create an error correction list. So you write the mistake on one side of the page, and then next to it write what the corrected version would be. You're going to add to this list every time you get an essay correction back. And the third thing we need you to do, of course, is write another set of essays applying everything you've been learning. So go ahead, get this started, and we'll meet back here with your next set. Good luck.